Well, good morning. I am in my car, which is unusual for me. Look at, have a moonroof. Hey, I wanted to make a quick video this morning to talk to you about taking refuge and what that means and why it's important. But before we dive in, we'll just take a moment to settle in. So take a deep breath in through our nose. Exhale, let it go. Good, and allow yourself to fully arrive here. Coming into presence by coming into your body, feeling your body from the inside out. Hi, Kathleen, welcome. It's a rainy morning this morning here in Southern California, so you might hear the drops of rain falling on the roof of my car. That too is a portal into presence. It's so good to be with you, Kathleen. I love it when you can join live. And then just taking this time for yourself, setting an intention to receive whatever you're needing to receive from this teaching. Taking refuge. We need to take refuge. I think so much of our dis-ease and discontent comes from feeling like we're all alone, right? Like there's no one really there to help us out. We feel isolated, we feel overwhelmed, anxious. And so much of that, like I just said, it comes from feeling like it's all up to us. That we have to rely solely on our, kind of ego self to get through things. Hey, Tracy, welcome. And so the truth, though, is that this doesn't have to be the case if we can trust and learn to take refuge. This means kind of taking a back seat to something greater. So I'm going to speak today to taking refuge in your breath. Right now, as I'm even mentioning that, are you noticing that you're starting to do it? You see, when we draw our awareness to your cabin of refuge, I think about that cabin often. It's such a beautiful place, and I look forward to coming back to it. It's so awesome. I can imagine you sitting there in your cabin looking out at the ocean. So our breath is always with us. And we place our awareness on it. We come out of our, hey Nancy, welcome, out of our busy thinking. A lot of our dis-ease and discontent and our sense of being this kind of small self all alone in the world comes from living in our mind, living in our thoughts. We take refuge in our thoughts without really knowing it. We're not conscious of this, but thinking is not a good place to take refuge because your thoughts are just a snapshot of your experience. And oftentimes, as I've talked about in many videos, our thoughts, welcome Kate, our thoughts are negative, right? Because of the negativity bias. So the negativity bias is that, our default thinking is focused mostly around what could go wrong and what's wrong with ourselves and with our environment. So your negative, kind of grumpy mind, your anxious thinking, your critical thinking, it's not your fault. It's actually part of the kind of survival mechanism that we developed in our, as we've evolved for our survival. Because not too long ago, our safety wasn't as assured as it is now. We could be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or killed by a warring tribe. We really needed to be scanning the environment a lot for danger so that we could stay safe. Hence our nervous systems. Isn't it funny? We have a nervous system, and there's the word nervous in there for a reason. We're sort of on default nervous, if we're not conscious, if we're not in this process of becoming more conscious and becoming present, becoming aware and waking up to who we really are, which is what all of you are on the path to doing, or you wouldn't be tuning into this. We live in this sort of fight, flight, freeze mode However, when we start to become more conscious, we learn to not take refuge so much in the limited capacities of our thinking mind, but take refuge in something greater. The breath is a great place to take refuge. Your breath has been with you since the beginning. There's never been a time that you haven't breathed, that you've been conscious of. Your breath is with you when you're happy. It's with you when you're sad. It's with you when you pay attention to it, and it's with you when you ignore it. We so often take the breath for granted because it's just always there, right? It will be the last thing that you have before you leave this physical body. You might even say that the breath loves you unconditionally. When I'm paying attention to my breath, when I'm really feeling my breath, I'm disconnecting from my habit of thinking, and I'm automatically delivered to being. The breath, without you even efforting it, when you're paying attention to it, it draws the preciousness of your awareness into this moment. It gathers it up so that you come back into your body and you start to tap into the vital centers that live along the spine line. So much of your body wisdom lives beneath the neck. And the breath is a portal into that. And so when we're paying attention to our breath, we're relating to our breath and we're taking refuge in it, because you're always taking refuge somewhere with your awareness. Your awareness can be directed anywhere you want it to. And if it's unconscious, like I said earlier, it's probably in your thinking. But if we can consciously direct our awareness towards our breath and towards this moment, towards the light in the room, towards the sound of the rain, the sound of traffic, towards the feeling of your body, like my body sitting here in the car, I'm starting to tap into and draw in wisdom that is beyond my limited small self, right? You didn't create your breath. Just like you don't make your heart beat. You don't make yourself breathe, it just happens. There's a wisdom to that that's really trustworthy. You don't have to rely on your small, limited ego self to live a happy, fulfilled life. As a matter of fact, we need to take refuge in something greater to do that. And the breath is a really trustworthy companion. And as you start to tune into the breath more and you start to relate to it, as you move about your everyday life, right? You can pay attention to your breath and feel your breath as you're talking, as you're making a video, as you're ordering food at a restaurant, as you're doing the dishes, as you're giving your kid a hug. Something begins to shift. You start to tap into more of your essential nature, which is like our whole purpose in life, is to tap into and live from our essential nature, our true nature, our Buddha nature. There's so many words for the real you that isn't just your thinking self. And when we take refuge more and more in that, we're not as anxious, we're not as fearful, because we start to connect to the true inherent support of life. It's what the trees take refuge in. It's what the sky takes refuge in. It's what you can take refuge in. Let yourself take refuge. Let yourself be supported. Surrender your habitual way of trying to control everything through your thinking and your planning and your remembering. And instead start to receive something that is beyond thought, that is a direct connection line to the divinity within you. And we start to trust and take refuge in that, life becomes a lot more manageable, becomes a lot more meaningful. We're actually tapping into our capacity to respond in the moment in an appropriate way. And then magic starts to happen. Doorways start to open. Life starts to look a little different. And you start to feel more supported, more safe, more at home, more at ease, more on purpose. So I hope that serves you today. Take refuge. You don't have to do it alone. And of course, you can take refuge in community. That's what we do here as well. But especially, I want to hear from you today. What was it like to take refuge in your breath? To start to be more conscious of your breathing, to deepen it even when you need it, to allow it to soothe you. Your breath is your biggest ally on this path. And so do you like this video? Please share it if it served you today. And I look forward to seeing you all, hopefully, especially those who join me live and on the replay for these videos. I changed the date of Happy for No Reason, the webinar that I'm doing, the live webinar. So all of you who can't come and see me in person in workshops can come see me this way. And it'll be March 31st rather than the 17th. March 31st at 1 p.m. So, and I'll put a post up soon about that. And I hope, do sign up. There's a link. If you scroll down, you'll see the link in the news feed here on the Painted Yogi. So that's it for today. Sending you so much love and many blessings. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste. Love you.